Welcome, Wolfpack. This is how we do. Thank you all for being with us. It's me, Drew, Secret Prepper, here on the 18th of November 2024 with our wonderful, wonderful friends in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me live. Really appreciate you spending your time with me with all the other things you could be doing instead. So, love to you all. Love, peace and progress. To the pack. Cheers, everybody. Here's to surviving up until now. However.
Critical alert. This is not a test.
We are going to be talking about various bits and pieces going on around the world today. So, UK Urban Prepper in the house. Love to you, my man. Thank you so very much. Took the words right out of my mouth. Basically, what we've got coming up is the UK. We're going to be talking about farmer process and loads of other stuff. But I need to say a big thank you to Urban Prepper, UK Prepper, who's such an awesome host. It's not even funny. I did do a video yesterday. I know a lot of you saw it because I saw a bunch of you live in the chat over on UK Urban Prepper's channel. We had a great time. I really, really appreciate the invite, man. And UK Urban Prepper's going to be coming on our channel and checking it out. So he's a friend of ours now. Yeah, so that's all good in the house. And I was on there with Scottish Prepper as well and Alpha Kilo Prepper. So there was a bunch of us in there. It was a great one. So I think the link. I think if I'm not mistaken, I've actually gone ahead and linked to the video from last night in the description below. So yes, I did. UK Urban Prepper guest appearance live show link. So I know a load of you have gone over there. So thank you for supporting me over there and for supporting Mike as well at UK Urban Prepper. I had a great time last night. I had a good time anyway. I don't know about anyone else. But we had an awesome after party as well. And over on the Discord, don't forget, we have our Discord server. So there was a bunch of people who came to join us in the after party, including our very own Mr. UK Urban Prepper. So do make sure you get yourself over to the Discord server. It's completely free to join. This is what it looks like. Main hangout here. So look, we've got a bunch of new people joining, which is really cool. Great community, great place to make friends. And of course, you also get the announcements in here that go out to everybody. This is the one here, the Preppers Fireside. So this is what I was on yesterday, and it was a great time, sharing lots of different things, lots of different people. So yeah, get yourself over to the Discord server. There's loads to do over there. But this is also where we had the open voice chat after party. We might do a similar thing tonight. We'll see how we get on. We had a great time. Had a few new people coming in and catching up with us, voice and everything. So if you want to join us in the after party, we will be doing that later on in the show. However, at the moment, we've got. I'm so miffed I can't get on Discord. Scottish Prepper, speak of thou art. Great to see you. And of course, thank you as well for the memes you sent in, Scottish Prepper. We'll be checking them out a bit later on in the segment. So thanks for that. Mr. T in the house, great to see you. Yesterday's live stream was great, very humorous to lighten the times. Thank you. I certainly had a good laugh, which is kind of what it's all about, you know what I mean? Because there's no point in being doom and gloom. We've got nothing to be doomy and gloomy about, yeah? We're going to be the only people left, yeah? When it hits the fan. Our Wolfpack are going to be the only one howling about, yeah? Everyone else is just going to be squirrels on sticks. Oh, dear. So, yeah, great to see you all. Goals, so Daily Survival, first in the chat tonight, as usual. My moderator of all moderators, and my darling Sandy as well. Good to see you, my love. Also a moderator, so we should be all good in the hood. We'll try and keep it clean and tidy, as we like to do. Happy Limpet, look, great to see you. Thank you for your support and your comment on the video I did yesterday promoting the UK Urban Preppers channel and the Fireside. So I really enjoyed that. It was great to do. We'll have to do it again and get into a load of stuff. So we're going to be getting into a load of stuff. Today is the idea. Please hit the like button if you haven't done already, because that's a good way to help the channel. And do share it with your friends as well and get them in here. Give them a reason to, you know, get their act together. Cheers to you. But as we need to make mention of...
Critical alert. This is not a test.
We do need to be checking out what's been going on with the farmer protest. Oh, what is going on? We do need to be checking stuff out with the farmers' protests and stuff. So we're going to be looking into that. We're going to ask them some questions about it and discussing what it means, what it might mean in terms of food supply or not. I've got my own theories on it. Well, not theories, but, you know, I've had my own thoughts on it for a while. I've slipped out a few times over the weeks. What I think is either A, this is all about, or B, how it's being positioned with the whole manufactured consent. And, you know what I mean? It's all about managing perceptions. Everything is a psyop, right? I'm going to do a video specifically titled Everything is a Psyop, right? Quite literally at this point, but let's have a look. We're out with a camper van tonight, so, you know, we got the campfire rocking. We got our chairs as well, so come and join us live around the fire. What we got going on here? Have you done any videos on air filtration using hydroponic fan and carbon filter? Cost 80 sheets for both, uses 39 watts per hour, so 39 watt hour, and gives NBC level air filtration for bunker safe rooms. Sounds good. I don't have any form of air filtration apart from the usual masks and things, but in terms of kind of like room level air filtration, is not something I've included in my preps, but it could be something we talk about if we're only talking 80 sheets and we can put something together. So it is an important thing to make sure you're taking care of your air. I do always encourage people to have the basic stuff like smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and carbon dioxide detectors as well, especially if you're keeping yourself all closed in. Kaz are in the house. Great to see you, my lovely. My favouriteest person in London and Cyprus. Oh dear. It's my winter coat. I'm wearing about 10 jackets. It's not particularly the warmest at the moment in the UK, and it's raining as well. I was thinking about sometimes in the after party I do, we stream live, and me and Hugo Bear, my Boerboel South African Mastiff is Hugo Bear, so those who haven't ever met him before. You can go on Discord server, Animal Lovers. This is him. Look at him with his silly tongue hanging out. This is Hugo Bear. I was going to take him for a walk after in the woods as an after party live with video and stuff. This is Hugo. But it's absolutely tanking it down with rain. So thank you to everybody. There's JD. Look, he's 17 years old, bless him. That's Purple Flurple's little one. And Scottish Prepper as well is joining in the fun. Look at these beauties. I've always had a thing for huskies, I tell you. I've always had a thing for huskies. Must have been about 10 years old, I think it was, Brian. 10 years old when I was living with my mum still. And yeah, it was the guy up the road had a husky, and I was just fascinated by it. And yeah, ever since then, my son's really into huskies as well. So yeah, fair play, man. Beautiful. So go and get yourself over on the Discord server and, you know, submit your silliest pictures of your mutt. Again, this is Hugo Bear. Bless his cotton socks. But either way, we'll be doing an after party after the show, so please join us. It'll be great to see you. So I think what we'll do first of all is we're going to check out some Sigma Mindset quotes, talking to Discord, because of course there's also a quote segment on there. When you submit your quotes, we can then share them with other people. Motivational, inspirational, who knows? Let's check them out. Do it. Yes, indeed. Sigma Mindset quotes. You know how we do. Are you Sigma type? You probably are. Independent, self-reliant, you know. More focused on self-development and making the best out of yourself and learning skills and gaining knowledge and, you know, stuff like that, rather than wanting to be bossing people around or wanting to be bossed around. That's basically what makes us, us. Hence, Sigma Prepper, right? Come on. So, first one in tonight is actually from me. I usually like to start off with one of my own Sigma Prepper quotes. This one's another one. Prepping isn't paranoia. It's the wisdom of understanding tomorrow's risks today. Prepping isn't paranoia. It's the wisdom of understanding tomorrow's risks today. Funnily enough, this originally started off as one of the first couple of lines of the chorus lyrics to the tune months ago before it became a tune. And it just ended up being a quote in my book now. Anyway, prepping isn't paranoia, it's the wisdom of understanding tomorrow's risks today. Next up from Daily Survival, thank you for popping this one over on the Discord server. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So that's from Wayne Dyer. So thank you, Daily Survival, really appreciate that. And Kaza, my darling, great one from you. The hate of men will pass and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. Charlie Chaplin. I don't know if it was his actual quote, but it was lines from something that he performed way back in the day. The hate of men will pass and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. Charlie Chaplin. Liking it, liking it, liking it. So if you think you can better that, yeah, if you've got some even betterer quotes, then please share them over on the Discord community server. The link's in the description of this video below to go and do that. It's completely free to join. Sigma Quotes with the Brain is the section you're looking for. So get over there. Don't be shy. These people weren't. Thank you everyone for sending the quotes in. Let's get back to Basecamp. We can relax again. We were already relaxing. Now we're re-relaxing. Oh man, I'll tell you what, I am hoping that it's not the end of the potential wild camping adventures for this year. I am hoping to get another wild camp in the mix. So I'll be looking to see what I can do about that. I do need to test my under blanket for my DD Tarps hammock. My DD hammock. And I need it to be colder than usual, but I don't want it to be too cold. And I don't really like camping in the rain. Yeah. It's alright, but if it just makes filming difficult for you guys, and what's the point if I can't film my adventures for you? So I do need to watch the... I don't mind it being cold, I can film in the cold, right? But if it's raining, it's going to be so miserable, and it's going to be difficult to do a live, So, that is the plan. And what I also really want to do, following on from my video that I did, which you should have seen by now, which was... my 5 seconds. Let's get in there for you so you can see what you're looking for. So this one here, which was my new design of water filtration. Oh, my water filtration jobby, right? Which is essentially like a USB, well, a pump that I modified to run off USB PD power delivery. And so what I really want to be able to do, although I tested the water at the time on my digital water meter, so this is the general setup basically. You can check the video out, it's on my channel, right? The ultimate water filtration kit. So it just sucks it out of the lake, straight through 2 filters and into the bottle, so it's ready to drink straight out of the bottle, right? That was the idea of it. But what I really want to do, even if I'm not going back down to my location, my wild camping location, even if I'm not going back down there to do a wild camp, what I really want to do is to get down there with a bottle, collect some of the lake water as a sample. And I've got a bit of a theory where I'm going to want to be able to, using my digital water meter, for those who haven't seen one, this is my water filtration kit, right? Which has got various pouches and stuff all over the place, right? And obviously a clean canteen in there. But this is the water. This is the water tester, digital water tester. It shows you stuff like pH value, TDS, total dissolvable solids, i.e. how many actual impurities are in it. And things like EC, you know, the electrolyte level, temperature and so on. So what I want to do is to go and collect some lake water. Although I've done this before, I want to do it more in lab conditions, and so I'm going to collect some lake water, bring it back to the lab, and I'm going to be testing that with the water meter to start with. I'm then going to run it through the water filtration system that I've designed once, and then see, as I would do if I was just literally sucking it straight out of the lake straight into my container of choice. And I'll test that and do the comparison. But what I'm also interested to do is to create almost like a continual loop so that at camp I can just put water in something to be further purified, and it will just continually loop the water around, taking more and more and more impurities out. And the way I'm going to test that is to just literally leave the water meter, the water tester, in the container as we've got a pickup and a put back down loop going around the same water container, to see if it over time, as it circulates more and more times through the filtration system, to see if over time the TDS, particularly, I'm interested to see the total dissolvable solids, which will give you an idea of the impurities in it, to see if over time that does in fact diminish and reduce over time. It's just a theory. I'd like to test my theory, but it would mean that I could then bring some dirty water back to camp and just set up a loop system that would just running it through automatically with a battery bank and electric pump. Anyway, that was my thought. Let us know what you think, but that is what I'm going to try doing. So that'll be a video coming up soon. But anyway, enough of all my babbling and stuff going on. We need to do a quick global threat analysis report. Let's do it. Welcome everybody. Welcome Wolfpack. Reject the herd, prepare to pack. So here we are, checking out with the latest SHTF Intel. Just catching out with Mr. T here. TDS, did you use TDS pen to see what the filtration was like? Yes, the water meter does TDS. And it was there was a difference obviously. But I'm interested. TDS won't change over time. We'll see. My theory suggests that it will. So we're going to test this theory, Mr. T. So that'll be a video you're not going to want to miss, isn't it? When you see that one popping up on my channel, right? Purple Flurple in the house. Great to see you, my darling. Father No as well. Great to see you and seen you for a week or two. So thank you everyone for joining us. Please do tell your mamas, tell your fathers, tell your sisters, tell your brothers. Drag them in. Drag them in. You should try the water filter with a hole that you dug. You mean properly basics in terms of using soil and things to filter it through, or what? So we're going to have a little look at the global news analysis. Obviously, we're going to talk about the farmers versus the farmer protests in more detail. After the break. So we're going to do like a global threat analysis like we'd normally do, go through the main metrics, make sure there's nothing going to creep up and da-da-da-da. And then what we'll do is we're going to have a little bit more of a segment on the farmers protesting, heading their way down to London to do with the new inheritance tax things that are there. So we'll talk about that more after the threat analysis report, so we'll see how that goes. So global news analysis, then we'll just check out the quick headlines over on the BBC, but we'll just see what they're saying. Russia vows tangible response if US missiles used against its territory. That's a whole video I've got to do on its own. It's quite obvious to me what that's all about. I'm not particularly concerned about it, the whole Russia thing at the moment with the long range stuff that's been allowed. Biden's move on missiles for Ukraine angers Trump allies. Of course it does, because, you know, no president should create, no sitting president should purposely create a shitstorm for the incoming administration, because it's just not what you do. You want to try and maintain stability during that transition takeover. So this is already a lowbrow move, let's say, right? So dozens of medics tried in Turkey have a baby unalivings. Anything else sticking out to me? Let us know what's going on locally to you, whatever country you're in, that's worthy of a mention. Who is Trump intelligence pick Tulsi Gabbard? We looked at that the other day, didn't we? So they haven't got much going on. But I tell you what, they haven't got going on. If you do a Control F So on the bottom left there, Control F, we get this find protests. So how many protests have we got? 2 of 2 matches. We got that. New Zealand's capital prepares for huge Maori protests. What's the other one? That's it. So, what about farmers? Nah. Red. I'll tell you what, let's do it a favour. Let's give it a benefit of the doubt, right? And this is how you know that you know I know you know what's really going on. So, let's go UK, look. Should we do a Control F as well on this for a laugh? Control F. Let's have a look for protests. Oh, look, farmers gather for protests over tax changes. That's interesting. Latest updates. It is there, look. No protests, just protest. So we've got one there, so we'll pop that open. But if you look at, that is it. Yeah, that is it. Nothing else. It's like buried right down the bottom here, where they're hoping no one's gonna look. Right? It's blatant. Like I say, we're going to dig into this a little bit more detail after the global analysis report. We're just going to get the main headlines out of the way. But I just wanted to see if my theory would be correct that we wouldn't see any mention of it. I'm surprised there's even something down here, but it makes sense if it's right at the bottom because that's how they roll. If you do England specifically, what about that? No. Farm, no. So nothing when you go England. Oh man. So, so that's interesting. Let us know your thoughts on that. Let's like I say, I think the Russia thing I'm going to talk about on a specific show because it's a big one to unpack and it's just a complete psyop from start to finish anyway. Yeah. Are you going to do any camping vids out in it? Oh, I'm missing stuff. I'm missing loads of stuff, sorry. Dig a hole with a small trowel in the woods, get down to water and use it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Do you know what? My wild camping location that I go to, Happy Limpet, is actually pretty good for that because I don't know if you've seen my videos, but where I pitch my tarp and my hammock and stuff, and the ground sheet is on a bit of a decline and it goes actually down to a very small valley with a small trickle of water at the bottom. I have to head a little bit upstream to get to where the water's a little bit more trickly, but theoretically I wouldn't have to dig down very deep. But this is the idea, you see. Ideally I want to become self-sustaining from a water point of view, and so I'm making incremental strides towards that. Last year I put my gravity fed system that I came up with together, which worked really well. And obviously this year I was prototyping my new lazy person's electric pump version. It's not a lazy person, it's more a strategic thing, more of a tactical thing. It's probably a better use of more of a tactical reason I've created that, because I realized last year when I was collecting water from that lake just how much time it took me of being distracted and not looking around. We're Sigmas at the end of the day. We can't rely on having like a group of people coming down with us to protect us while we're collecting water. So for me to be able to just sling a schlong in the lake, right, to suck up the water automatically, and I don't have to touch it, I don't have to squeeze it or try and reach the lake to, you know, get it in a pail or a bucket or something like that. I haven't got to deal with any of that. I can stay on watch, yeah, while it's just doing its thing and filtering water directly out of the lake. That was the idea. It was more of a tactical thing, right? I build nuclear bunkers, fallout shelters. We do not have much time to repair. They want martial law to keep power. So I'm more than welcome for you to come and build me a nuclear bunker in my garden, Mr. T, in exchange for sponsorship. I'll talk about you every week. How's that? For the next 30 years. In exchange. Oh dear. You've got snow. Yorkshire Outdoors got snow. I've got to make sure I don't get mixed up between Scottish Prepper, who I was doing a live show with last night on UK Urban Preppers channel, if I'm not mistaken. Unless someone's pretending to be you. I never even know nowadays. Oh. I need to catch up with the comments. Kelly in the house, great to see you. I'm here from UK Urban Prepper channel from live yesterday. Yes, I remember you. I remember you mentioning about why don't you get microwave rice. Yeah. That's what my brain seems to have associated with Kelly. Hello, my darling. Great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, cousin Kelly, says the hungry tourist. Are you a tourist right now? A hungry tourist? If not, are you hungry? Man flu. Feel better soon. Who's got man flu? I'm down with man flu. Yorkshire outdoors. You know what they say, Yorkshire outdoors? Man flu is about 4 to 5 times more painful than childbirth for a woman. So I'm feeling for you, man. I'm feeling for you. Yeah? Just women have got no idea what we have to go through with man flu, right? It's nothing. It's like that childbirth nonsense is nothing in comparison, right? When is the farmers' protest happening? It's kind of happening now, but they're en route and they're supposed to be getting there tomorrow, Kelly, is the idea. Yeah. But we're going to be looking at that shortly in lots of detail. Cold, running nose, coughing bad. Do you know what? It's the lack of vitamin D. All of a sudden drop off. You need to be making sure you got your vitamin D and your magnesium and stuff as well. Yeah, I hate it when people say that, so I'm just going to stop. Oh dear, news is saying between 10 and 40,000 people. Could be the case, could be the case. And if each one of them has got a tractor, it's going to be interesting. Put protest in search bar top right. Seen farmers protest in London today. Yeah, they'll be getting down there. Thank you, Day Survival. And thank you to our new subscribers here as well. Look, Stevie, Caroline, Lady Fisher, and Taz MFV. No new orders being taken. Oh no, it's not an order, Mr. T. It's a free installation. An order would suggest there's things like invoices involved, and we ain't got to worry about that, has it? It's a sponsorship deal. Oh, yes to both. Okay, you are a tourist and you're hungry. Took me a minute, but we got there. Oh dear. Right, what are we doing? We've got to be getting into it. Yeah, let's just crack on through, shall we? Let's just check out the weather, make sure nothing's going to blow us away or wash us away. So we've got bum cyclone to explode. Let's look at the wording on that. West Coast and Canada bringing hurricane force winds, heavy rain and mountain snow. It's looking interesting. I'm not inclined to spark open windy or anything and start analysing it, as sometimes we do. But Super Typhoon Mani, 4th typhoon to strike Philippines in 10 days, makes second landfall over. Ooh. What else going on there? They've changed the layout on this website recently. Yeah, so Philippines looks like they're not having a good time. And we got this one as well, US West Coast, so watch out to our friends on the West Coast. People like Connie, people like Margie Mulder, people like Danger Bob, and people like Laughs Me. Love to you. They're some of the Wolfpack members on the West Coast. I hope you're all good in the hood when it comes to whatever's coming in there. Red usually means bad. Let's see if we've got any numbers. Here we go. Oh look, 12 inches of rain from Tuesday through Thursday, increasing the risk of flash flooding and river overflow, which we've seen a lot of. Don't forget in things like Spain, which has been a bit of a major disaster area. And yeah, it looks like they have had a bit of a battering. Look. So 4 typhoons have struck the Philippines in the last 10 days. This is the report today, Monday. With the latest Manyi having claimed 8 lives as of Monday. At least 160 people have died due to storms in the Philippines in the last 3 weeks. The last 3 typhoons have combined... so yeah, more $8 million of damage done. And 160 people unalive, so not a good look. Just don't like seeing this kind of thing. It just... I still have a little... I don't want to say that, but I will. Little bit of PTSD left over from when I was living in Thailand and we had the most awful floods. I think I've shown pictures before to the VIP Patreon members. It's real scary stuff because it's like one of those things that you just can't do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? It's like Mother Nature. There's no holding it back. Once it's flooding, right? We lost we lost about like 70% of our koi carp out of the fish pond, you know, in our garden and stuff like that. And our well was contaminated. The power was down for about 6 weeks or something crazy. The water deliveries stopped as well. We were fortunate that we already had a good supply backup, but it was not even on purpose. Yeah, this was like 2003. So we were preppers kind of already, but we became even more so after that. Do you know what I mean? And I extended my battery bank and stuff to my UPS, uninterruptible power supply, which you have in Thailand anyway because the power goes off quite frequently. So you have a UPS, so uninterruptible power supply, which is just a big box. It's got some 12-volt gel batteries in there, and it plugs into the mains. Your computer plugs into it. If the mains cuts off, the battery takes over to boost mains into your PC for as long as it can. It's usually only about 20 minutes just to allow you to save your work and shut down. But everybody in Thailand where I lived in this little island had a UPS because you had to, because it was just so unreliable. But when it was off for like weeks and weeks, that's where really things start to change. So I went through quite a while actually where for about the first 6 months after that, there was so much, it destroyed the island so badly, and there was lots of people who again were unalived in that and this wasn't that long after we'd been through the tsunami there in Asia. We were living there when the tsunami happened, so we dealt with all the destruction from that, and then we had that happen to us locally where we were. It was a little bit of PTSD. Whenever it started raining really hard, right, you would get like a little anxiety, adrenaline boost feeling of like, oh God, please don't tell me it's going to be flooding and destroying everything again. And contaminate the water. So it's definitely a thing. Hence I really feel for people when I see them going through these things, especially you'll know yourself if you've ever had something like that that's been pretty horrific for everyone around you. So let's have a look at the earthquakes quickly then. So we've got 31 on the map, which is about normal, so there's nothing looking out of place. That usual little ripple there, Puerto Rico look, as usual, but yeah, nothing more than normal. So nothing major. Check out the space weather where we have had a little bit of action. We've got 3 M-class solar flares on the map. Looking like it's all coming from this 3901, sorry. If we look at the solar visible disk, we can see there 3901's over on the eastern limb. Don't forget, when you're talking about a sun, it's reversed. It's not the western limb, it's the eastern limb. Don't ask. 3901 is over there on the left-hand side of the sun, incoming. Don't forget, it takes 28 days for the sun to rotate. You're talking about 13 degrees roughly per day of rotation. Bosh, 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 bosh. So you can already predict basically and extrapolate where 3901's going to be. So to do 45 degrees, that's about 3 days worth of movement. So in 3 days, that's going to be mid-disk. So just, you know, it's going to be from then onwards. So from 3 days onwards, yeah. Anyway, it will be Earth facing more than it is now. But if it's already popped off these M2s at 3.7s and stuff, we can like have a little bit of a close-up look on the X-ray flux look, and it will highlight the M's. So they're good size M's. They look like they're quite short. You can select this and you can zoom in, look, but they look like they're quite short. This one here is more of a long one above me. Yeah. Whereas these are very short ones. It's the long duration solar flares that can really cause the problem. So they're just sparking off at the moment, but it's definitely a sunspot we're going to need to keep our eye on and see. If we look at the sunspot summary, we'll see what the magnetic mixing is. 31 beta gamma. It needs to be beta gamma delta to really start doing any damage. We'll see how that develops over the next couple of days. But this beta gamma here has been responsible. This is just turning off for the western limb now, going out of view. But we had nearly an X-class flare from that. Look, M9.4, just a little bit off being an X-class solar flare. So we could see similar activity from this new one coming in. This 3901, so we'll definitely keep our eye on that. What else are we going to look at? I think that's about it. We'll have a look at the cryptocurrencies because Sheets is going crazy on cryptos. 91 bags of sand. I think, will it be this year we see 100 bags of sand? We don't know, but it's at $3.1 trillion in terms of total market cap. Look, this is new money getting piled in from outside of cryptos. So there's new investment coming in. It was down at 2.15 not that long ago, right? A few weeks ago. So in terms of the gold prices, again, the weekly change, we're down about 0.5%. We had this weird sort of thing where it was all looking great, and then it was just suddenly, if we look on the month view, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was all going good, and it was like, so in terms of silver, we might as well look at that. $31.17. A similar story. Look, we look on the week. It has started regaining. Look, we're 1.5% up on the week so far. So this is good news. We'll see how that develops and see what the deal is. But in the meantime, we need to do things like good news stories, because that's what we like. Question is, are we going to do... Are sunspots ever at the top and bottom? Yes, it depends on the solar. It goes through its own cycle, the sun. The 11-year cycle, yeah, for solar minimum and solar maximum. And basically the poles reverse on the sun. The sun itself doesn't go anywhere, but the poles reverse. And one of the ways you can tell when they've reversed is that instead of the sunspots, those black things around the sun, instead of the sunspots all being around the center, they become more towards the poles, top and bottom. So it's perfectly normal. But there will be periods during the sunspot cycle, the solar cycle, that's 11 years or so, that there'll be more around the equatorial region, and there'll be other times during the solar cycle towards the end of it where there'll be more towards the poles of the sun. Good to see you, Mark. It could grow. It could fizzle out and pop. Fox Lady the Witch. Great to see you, my darling. Great to see you. Welcome to the Wolfpack. I'm just trying to catch up and make sure I haven't missed anybody. As long as everybody's had a shout out. Yorkshire Pud, I don't think we have. What a great name, Yorkshire Pud. Good to see you all here supporting Sibra. Hey, UK Urban Prepper in the hair, still with us. I thought you'd already got bored and fallen asleep. Because I'm just waffling on, goddammit. So we need to get into what? Yeah, we need to get into good news stories, because you know how we do. So, Bosh. Why not? That's America. That's America. Stranger kicks in door, pulls man from burning home. Today's good news story comes from Winterville, Georgia. A Georgia man says he's lucky to be alive after a complete stranger pulled him to safety from his burning home. Tell me, Wolfpack, in the live chat, if you saw a home burning, would you bust through the door and save whoever's in there? Particularly, obviously, cats and dogs. You've got to be saving them first. But let us know, because I can't imagine not. Within reason, if it looks like it's already well on fire and the roof is going to... Like this thing on the top left, I don't think I'll be going in there, to be honest. I think I'll leave that to the dudes who are ready for it with their helmets and shit. David McConnell had been taking a peaceful afternoon nap when he heard odd popping noises coming from his kitchen. Dismissing the sounds, he drifted back to sleep. Minutes later, he was jolted awake by the fire alarm. Wah, wah. Here comes the sound effects and everything. You don't even have to pay extra. With smoke quickly overtaking his surroundings, McConnell struggled to the front door, only to realise, dun dun dun, that the storm door was locked. Just as panic started to set in, an unexpected lifeline arrived. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Introducing Dylan Betts was driving home from work and noticed smoke pouring out of McConnell's home. Without a second thought, whoosh, he pulled over, whoosh, ran to the front door, whoosh, and kicked in the whoosh, locked storm door, and that was it. Betts braved a thick wall of smoke, calling out into the house. Mr. David luckily heard my voice and he came right to me, Betts told Fox Atlanta. He pulled McConnell to safety, helping him breathe into the fresh air outside emergency responders. Right, so all ended well. His heroic deed deeply touched McConnell and his family, with McConnell's youngest daughter now affectionately referring to Betts as our hero. Yes, indeed. So how cool is that? Somebody survived who otherwise probably wouldn't have. So our last good news story is one that actually was in today. For Earl Gaines, a 1967 Chevrolet Camaro was one more than just a car. It was a symbol of his youth and dreams. But at 22, with 2 little ones at home, Earl made a selfless decision to sell his beloved Camaro to provide for his family, trading horsepower for diaper money. Over the years, Earl would reminisce about the car. It was blue with white stripes down across the hood and down the back. 2 doors, of course. 67 were the ones with a wing window on the side, he told NBC. That was a bit of American accent there. I used to tease Gerard quite a bit. I used to have a car like that one over there, and I said, yeah, I let it go for diaper money. You needed diapers, so that's what happened to that car, he said. But when he mentioned it to his son, Gerard the younger Gaines thought his dad was just spinning a tall tale. Yeah, he was like winding him up so he could get his son to buy him a cool car, basically. I thought he was full of it, because that's exactly what a guy in a tank top and a minivan would tell you, Gerard joked. He's saying it quite a bit out loud here, isn't it? Over time, Gerard came to understanding that his dad's story was more than just a nostalgic tale. It was the truth. After a great business year in 2021, Gerard embarked on a journey to find the very car his dad had sold decades earlier. After a year-long, that is pretty cool. After a year-long nationwide search, he located a matching 67 Camaro just 70 miles away. However, the car needed extensive restoration. No doubt he restored it. Oh, the video's up, but not even available, so we can't even see how it looked in the end. I'm sure it looked beautiful, and I'm sure he was super happy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in the good news stories section, would it? So how cool is that? Isn't it lovely to see when people show their love and kindness and appreciation? I'm just wondering what I had a BMW 5 Series actually, so I might have to now start talking about how to my son how, we had to sell that, because things are hard, son, and your diapers were costing some sheets, dude. They were costing some sheets. All that crayon on the walls and stuff, that re-wallpapering we had to do. That was some sheets, man. We had to sell the car. I'll wait until he's making epic sheets, obviously, and then, see if it works for me as well. And he might even find me the exact... I wouldn't even want the exact car it was. I want a new one. Snow here in Leeds, says Foxy Lady the Witch. Boots out. It is proper stormy weather here right now. Where's here? Where's here, my Kelly Poos? Are you in America? Or are you in England? Or are you in Australia, mate? Because we have people from all over the place. Yeah, we're an inclusive bunch here. When I build a bunker, there's usually 3,000 litres of stored water with air bubbles to keep the water moving and oxygenated. Like it. Thank you. America. Supposed to be going to hospital tomorrow. Oh no. Health and love and get well soon vibes. Sending out to Foxy Lady the Witch. Yeah, everyone join me. Health vibes going out to Foxy Lady. I have snow in Lancashire. Oh, what? That's not fair. I've tried that on my cats. They take no notice, ungrateful blighters. What have you tried on your cats? What am I missing? What was I even talking about? Because I got no idea. Well, that could be... yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. What are we missing? I think we're right, but we've got memes. Are we doing memes now? I think we have to, don't we? Yeah, go on in. Memes it is. So, again, yet another reason to join a Discord Wolfpack, a Discord server, a community server for Sigma Prepper. Get yourself over there. The room you're looking for is the Your Memes room. Go and dump your favourite memes in there, just like these people did. Starting with Kaza, my darling, thank you for this one. Being funny at work is a delicate balance of being just funny enough to entertain your co-workers, but not so funny that you get sent to HR. I've always struggled with that balance, Kaza, I must say. Me at work, this is from Purple Flurple, look. Me at work wondering why I chose such a peoply job for someone who can't stand people. In true Sigma Styly. Another one from Perpy Flurps. This is still my favourite ever family photo. My mum did the O. We told her we were going to write love. Love. Thank you, Dave Survival, moderator of all moderators. Keeping the links flowing in the live chat. Cheers, my lovelies. Yummy. Snowing here in Merseyside. Thanks, Mark. Why has everyone got snow except me? Littlehampton. That's England, isn't it? Oh, guilt tripping them on their cost, says Miss Worm. I get it, yes. Oh, I like it. Who's off it? Build a snowman tonight. I'm up for it. I'm always up for building a snowman. I am the snowman building master. Yeah? Telling you, Bognor here. The armpit of Sussex. Do you know, there is some good things about Bognor though, i.e. Butlins. I have been there once with school, I think it was. A school trip to Bognor Regis Butlins. Or was it Skegness? One of the two. I've been to both. One with mum when I was a kid and one with school when I was a kid. But I don't think since. Thanks, I've joined the Discord. Cool, thank you, Kelly. Welcome in. Please make yourself comfortable. Take your seat, my darling. Why don't you take off your shoes? Let me take your coat. It's not really like that. Don't worry. This is the Discord server. Hello, Kelly. Yay. Cheer bear. Thank you, my darling. Great to see you in there. And Mr. Quattro as well. But that was yesterday, so thank you. And don't you see, that's as easy... That's how easy it is, yeah? All you got to do now, Kelly, is get yourself some top memes in the house, yeah? Scottish Prepper, I told you to send some memes. I really like this one. Did I win? Did I win? Did I win? I don't even know which one of those is the best, but... like it, thank you. You're going to have to work harder, Miss Worm, to get yourself sorted out on Discord and just drill down the problem. Oh, look, you see, I literally summoned you here, Lafsme, when I called out your name. I do wonder if maybe the algorithm can do that. When I mentioned Lafsme earlier on, when I said about the people I was concerned about, my friends on the West Coast, right? Basically, that was what it was, Lafsme, so don't worry. It wasn't anything nasty about you. How could it ever be? My darling. So great to see you. But yeah. Big storming coming to you, girlfriend, innit? Left me. But I'm so glad you heard me. Next up, another one from Scottish Prepper. Great one, this one. This is a bit deadliest snatch. With matey girl. She is a proper rotter. Proper rotter. What did she do to herself? Women, don't be doing all that silly, like, injection business and don't know, not feeling it. Not feeling it. I'll tell you what though, talking of not doing what do you call it? Is my thing still open? No, but it won't take long to open it, so we're gonna do it just because I love you. Just because I love yous. It's because I love yous. It's because I love yous. So let's get this one. I'm just stalling because I'm trying to download something for you. But it is because I love you, so it's worth waiting for. Talking of things like ladies not been doing things like you're injecting bidnit and things like that, right? What I would say is that what it can result in is like some of the nastiest looking ting. Hold on. We need to be here. Let's just get this one out of the way. Purple Flurple, don't be part of the problem. Be the entire problem. Thank you, my darling. I appreciate that one. But this one... just so I can tag onto it, right? Deadliest snatch, right? Now, the problem is that if you matey girl here, Katie Price. Do you know, I used to see Katie Price driving around when I lived in Cyprus, right? She had like a pink Range Rover or Land Rover? Range Rover? Like a pink one, like proper audacious. This is when she was married to, what's his name? Because he lived in Cyprus. We lived just up the road from his gym. Weightlifting gym. Why can't I think of his name? Please save me. Save me from my inability to remember. What was Katie Price's Jordan. What was her ex-husband called? Was it her husband? I can even hear the tune that he made. What is it? Come on, put me out of my misery. She lived down the road for me. Really? Peter Andre, happy limpet, wins it. Whoosh, maximum points in the chat. It's a happy limpet. Peter Andre, right? Peter Andre's weightlifting gym was not that far from where we lived in Cyprus. So I used to see her. I was just in a Volvo estate. I have had a Volvo estate, unfortunately, in the past. It was a company car. But I was in a Golf estate. We had a Golf estate when we lived in Cyprus. And she had this massive pink Range Rover thing. And anyway, so what I wanted to say, just really as to the ladies, right? Because Katie Price is a good example of what happens when you get a bit carried away with the whole work. This is what can ultimately end up happening if you take it too far. Tell me what you're thinking, boys. Come on. Tell me what you're thinking, boys. Come on, let it out. Should they or shouldn't they? Work or no work? I'm not even going to look. I daren't. I worry that I'll never be able to look at any woman the same again. Just let me know. Let me know, work or not work, right? Because this is basically how it can pan out if you're not careful. Let us know your thoughts. Whew. Right, Brian Wood, fucking classic. Oh dear. But this is how matey girl's gonna end up if she ain't careful, right? What a comment. Looks painful. Doesn't it just? Say what you see, Kelly. Say what you see. Fucking brilliant. Right, next up, UK Urban Prepper, my boy. Whoosh. Thank you again for letting me loose on your show last night. I know you'll probably never do it again as a result, but I really enjoyed myself and hopefully other people did too. My father was a toolmaker. He certainly was. Do you know, I really love memes like this. You clearly share similar appreciation to style of memes as I do, Mike. But my father was a toolmaker. He certainly was. It's as simple as that. There's like nothing more needs to be said, basically, isn't it? Oh, Kaza, thank you, my darling, for this one. Normies realising natural disasters keep happening in the same places. Smart cities are being planned. Girlfriend, wind it in. Wind it in. Good girl, like it. Thank you. Look at that, classic one. The indentation on her pillow must be horrendous in the morning, isn't it? I'm sure she's got some special pillow made that's all like form factored into all the funny lumps and bumps and shit. Fucking good way to solve your golf balls for later. Isn't it? Next up then is it's officially once I'm home I ain't coming back out season. Ain't that brilliant, Kaza? Totally identify with this one. I really struggle in the winter time. I do need a lot of vitamin D, I'll tell you that. And again, I think my body climatized from living in hot climates for most of my, what I call my formative years of my life, right? Have been spent in places like Cyprus and Thailand and stuff like that, right? So I think my skin changed, you know, the amount that it can intake to compensate, but it never changed back. So I'm like, have this, you know, need for lots of sun all the time because my body's been used to it. And now I don't. It's like, oh, I've even got one of those lamps. You know them lamps you can have to try and make you feel less sad? There's some sad syndrome in it. Leave Jordan alone. Back in the day, I drank... Do you know, I don't think I've ever heard anyone use that phrase before apart from my proper crew from back in the day. One of my best pal, Ice, basically, and those who follow me and know that he didn't just pass away, but he took his own life just a year and a half ago. And that was the thing that he used to say. He was like, I'd be like, is she tidy, Barry? Everyone called everyone Barry. I was like, is she tidy, Barry? He's like, I'll drink her bathwater, Barry. That's what he used to say. Oh, dear. Bosh. Oh, look at that. And it's the end, not the end of it all, just the end of the memes, obviously. So don't get carried away and get excited thinking, oh, yeah, it's the end. Because it's not. To be honest, we've literally only just started. We're just getting warmed up, scratching the surface. This is like the soft music, the candles have been lit kind of part of it, right? We got to have the nice, you know, interaction, the meal, you know, to sit down, to getting comfy, yeah, to getting closer, right, to getting warmer. We've got all that to come, so don't go anywhere. We're barely even getting warmed up. Whew. So, I reckon we've done pretty good here. If I don't mind saying myself, we seem to have churned through it all. We wasted a little bit of time, but not too much. I hope you've enjoyed the SHTF Intel report, but we've got so much more to come. We've barely even begun. I've also just realised we don't seem to be having, our dates don't seem to be showing up, which is just unacceptable behaviour. So before we go anywhere, we need to repair that. This is the starter, exactly. This is the fruit cocktail. This is the prawn cocktail. I wanted to say it, Kaza, but I just couldn't say it out loud, so I'm glad you did. But we're not quite even at that point. Yeah? Do you see? Look, as if by magic, we've got times, we've got dates. We are rocking and rolling, so we can get out of here. Don't go anywhere, because I'm not. Thank you, everyone, for everyone sending in the memes. Do it too. So, get those peace vibes rocking, because we are back at base camp with our fire, with our nice romantic scene. The deck chairs are here. We're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. So we've got some hardcore stuff to get into, because don't forget, we've got things to talk about.
Critical alert. This is not a test.
It certainly isn't. Thank you. It's my darling Tia. She's watching over us. We've got to be talking about the London protests for the farmers, going to be rocking tomorrow, the 19th of November. I've got a whole thing I'm going to talk to you about, break it down. Got loads to talk about. I'm interested to get your feedback on what you think, on what I think, and then whatever I think you think, we can talk about what you think about that. And that's basically how it's going to go. We've got loads more to share with you. Really looking forward to it. So don't go anywhere, but I just went to take a sip of my tea. And as I did that, I thought, I wonder how many people haven't even hit the like button yet. How rude is that? But I also, as I went to take a sip, I realised there's basically no tea left. So I think what we're going to have to do, without messing about anymore, is go and get ourselves a cup of tea. Yeah. Don't think you're not relieved of duty or anything like that. We've only just begun. So go and get yourself a cup of tea. And I'm going to meet your fine you-know-what's back here in a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere. They're all coming up in part 2. Thank you, everyone, for part 1. Please hit the like button. I'll see you in about 6 minutes. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Welcome back. Part 2 of the Global Threat Analysis Report. We your host, Drew. The Sigma Prepper. You know how we do. Thank you for hitting the like button already. Thank you to our new subscribers that we picked up along the way. Many of which courtesy of our boy OK Herb and Harvesting, because we had ourselves a good old mashup yesterday. If you want to check out that after this one, you can do. Check out the Discord server and you'll see on the announcements where I put out the announcements of videos that I do. And you'll see it on the channel. I did an announcement as to where I was going to be as a guest over on UK Urban Prepper, and he's going to be a guest on our show too. He's already a guest in the live chat, so great to have you with us, and thank you everyone for being here. And yeah, so Lich just been brewing my tea on the desk here in front of me, so I'm good to go, and I'm gagging for a sip, so let's do it. Cheers everyone. Love, peace and progress to the pack. Yummy. One's never enough. More like it. So, UK farmer protest is what we're going to be having a little dig into before it kicks off tomorrow and over the next week or so. Because I've got some things I want to say about it. A lot of people have already said a load of stuff about it, but we'll have to see if there's anything else I'm going to say about it that maybe, you know. I'm not even going to read out some of the comments. Right, let's do it. So, what are we doing? Let's have a look. I'll tell you what I like to do first of all. Just start off with Twitter, X, and see what's going on over there. right? And see what the feelings are when it comes to, you know, not if they're driving on the wrong side of the road. You see, this is already being clocked by someone as not being the British ones, so you need to be aware of that, because there's been lots of these. Don't forget, there was the whole nitrogen thing in the Netherlands and stuff, which didn't end particularly brilliantly. So you got to be careful what you're looking at, because, you know, as it says there, they're driving on the wrong side of the road. I remember that when it very first kicked off with Russia and Ukraine. I was like reported on it the morning it happened. I happened to be awake at like 4:45 in the morning, right? I was one of the first people to break the story, and there was so much misinformation out of there, and you could tell because of I remember calling it out, and I even got a strike from it, and then they lifted it because I explained that no, I was saying that it was misinformation because there was images showing the area that Russia was supposedly gone into, and there was no snow anywhere. This was in the winter, and it was completely green, and the green leaves on the trees. You have to have discernment, right, when it comes to trying to figure out what's going on. And interestingly enough, this was something that came up last night in the after party. The what? The after party. So the after party is what we do over on the Discord. And now usually it's here in the VIP. You see on the left hand side the crowns. This is the VIP after party wolf pack. This is basically those who are supporting me on Patreon. You get access to this, right? And we chat after the show. Everyone can hear each other's voices, and we're all, you know, chat about what's going on. Now, last night I did one here on an open voice chat, so you don't have to be a VIP. And I'm tempted to do a similar thing after the show tonight. So you're welcome to join in, right? Open voice chat, where you can hear me, I can hear you if you choose to talk. If you just want to listen, plenty of people just listen in the background, right? Now, last night I was on the after party till no messing about, like 5:30 this morning, I think it was in the end, right? It was a monster sesh. And one of the things I got talking about was actually how you got to be so careful with the disinformation, misinformation. Everything's basically a psyop, you know. It's all about perception management and things like this that's going on. So one of the things that I want to highlight today is, ironically, it's interesting that I've just clocked this thing here and then seen this comment, which is a really good comment. Not if they're driving the wrong side of the road, right? So you got to be looking out for what you're looking out for. Now, one of the things that you can do, which can help to, let's come back out of this one. I wanted to see what the trending keywords were for this topic. Usually what I do is I have a look at some of these posts, and in here there'll be a couple of hashtags, which are the trending hashtags, because it's interesting that it's not showing me them anyway. Yeah, so if we do farmers protest London, right? So if we do that, what we want to do is we want to do min underscore faves colon 15, and it's only going to show us the posts that have at least, and we put it on the latest. So now we're in chronological order, and it's only going to show us the ones that have a minimum of 15 likes. See what we did there? And now we've got a much better view. So this is just going through how I find stuff out, or corroborate things or whatever, right? So breaking, organisers of farmers' protests have now confirmed upwards of 5 million patriots will attend, bringing up to 50,000 tractors and other vehicles. So you can see the map of London there and the worry of it all getting blocked up and that. But there's not an awful lot more than that. I mean, there isn't. 20,000 farmers are reportedly descending on London in protest of your budget. No farmers, no food. Now, I've seen, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the fact that I've actually seen a few new mainstream news reports trying to say that their protesting is going to affect food supply shortages and things like this, right? Which for us as preppers who like to not be caught up in things like food shortages is an important thing to take note of and to understand in more detail, right? Now, one of my theories I had previously was the fact perhaps what's really going on is, and this was something I said about 2 weeks ago when I like to predict what I'd expect to see, and I said to somebody on the phone, And I think I mentioned it in a video. It might have even been a walk or talk. But I did mention that usually they would use perception management tactics to turn the public against the protesters if the protesters were protesting something that the government didn't want them to. The reason I put that caveat in is because, of course, things like Stop Oil, I don't need to expand on that, right? So if it's one that the government doesn't want protesters to go out and protest about, then they'll typically resort to just basic perception management tactics and psyops and things that dissuade people from supporting the cause. And that's something that I've seen quite a lot going on, which has been in the form of people on the mainstream talking about how, there'll be no food in the shops if they, are protesting, and it will affect the food supply chain. But there's a few reasons why that's not the case. And what I said to my friend at the time was that what they'll probably do is the government will collude with the big corporate supermarkets, and they'll create a fake shortage, basically. Yeah. It'll be a managed crisis, right? Almost like a flag that isn't true. It's the opposite from true, if you know what I mean. So then people will start saying, the farmers need to get back to work because the shops are getting empty of my favourite biscuits or whatever, right? That was what I was saying I would expect to see happening, would be the demonization of the Jonathan Hayes. Great to see you. Great to see you. There's no such thing as late, Jonathan. You get here exactly when you intended to. What would have happened if they had said 5% inheritance tax for them? Well, it's kind of the same problem, and we can get into that too, the financial side of it. Maybe we'll cover that first. So for those that don't know, the reason why this is all kicking off, right, I'll try and put it in layman's terms for those that don't really do the nitty-gritty economics and stuff, right? So basically you have inheritance tax. Most people are familiar with that. And for a property that you own as just a normal family home in the UK, the way it works is if your property is less than £350,000, about $420,000 roughly, top of my head, if your property is, or your estate, as in everything you own, is worth less than that, then you can hand that down to your children or your beneficiaries of the will without any inheritance tax being charged on the assets, right? If your property is more than £350,000, for every pound above the 350,000 allowance, you're taxed at whatever in inheritance tax rate, right? Now, historically, at least since 1984, a lot seemed to have happened in 1984. When you look at rules and laws and when they were introduced, everything seemed to happen in 1984. I ain't going to say any more about that. So, since 1984, it's always been the case that farms are exempt from the inheritance tax things, meaning that the farmer can own the farm as an individual, as a family farm, right? As they've done for generations, and then the farm, the main dude dies, gives it to his son or his daughter or whoever's taking it over. And there's nothing to worry about. They just carry on, working the land, carry on operating as a commercial entity without any changes, right? And so what they've done now is they're saying, if your farm, in the same way as I gave you that example of personal property, of just like me, for example, if I owned a house, if it was more than £350,000 for a house, you're charged inheritance tax over and above that. Well, what they've done, what they're saying they're going to do now is with farms, if your farm is worth or valued more than £1 million, so about $1.25 million. If your farm, and now don't forget, most farms on average have got hundreds of acres, right? And who determines what a farm is worth anyway? It's already, anyway. Anyway, if that farm is, let's say, worth £2 million, right, it means that now you're going to be taxable on the £1 million over your £1 million allowance. So don't forget, you can hand your farm down if it's less than $1 million bucks. You can hand it to your kids without inheritance tax. Right? Don't forget, if it's your own property, it's 350,000. But a farm, $1 million pounds. So, if your farm is worth £2 million, which the average farm minimum is going to be about 3 or 4, so it's going to affect every farm owner is the first thing, right? Very few farms that are operational as a business making sizable amounts of food are going to be less than £1 million, let's face it. Jesus, you can't get a 1-bedroom flat in London for £1 million, let alone fucking farm. Anyway, so let's just assume that your farm's worth 2 million smackaroonies, right? So what it means is that the first million, all right, we'll let you have that because, you know, we're arseholes, but we're not that much of an arsehole, so we'll let you keep the first million. But the other million, they're going to charge you 20% inheritance tax on that. So that means that it's like, cha-ching, IRS, yeah, for our American viewers, right? HMRC in the UK is going to basically say, right, cha-ching, that's 200 bags of sand, please, yeah, 200 grand, because you're 20% of your 1 million over and above the 1 million, right? So now the farm, in order for that farm to be part, the minute that farm hits, the dude dies, the minute it's transferred as it's part of his will onto the beneficiary, that beneficiary is going to get a tax bill with 200 bags of sand. Cha-ching, sort it out, sonny boy. Now, to be fair, I mean, not because it's fair, but as in to be fair of the facts, there's a couple of little bits in there hidden. Things like, you know, they have said that we'll allow you to pay that off over a 10-year period at 10% or whatever. So you're still talking about 20 grand a year for 10 years you'll be paying off. It's a lot of money. Bear in mind the average farm, particularly smaller ones, have less than like 60 grand a year profit wages coming in. You can't do much with that nowadays, right? So the problem is that because they don't have cash flow, you know, farmers are land rich, cash poor, right? That's generally how it works. And they're getting something like £400 an acre for barley. An acre is massive, right? Fucking football pitch. So imagine like all the work it takes to do a whole acre. You're gonna get 400 quid. You get more than that at a day's work at McDonald's serving burgers, goddammit, right? So they're not earning loads of sheets. Not to mention when all the fuel prices going up and everything else is going up, plus the nasty deal that our government got us with the Brexit thing meant that what they get paid for the food is less than it would have been anyway. So the problem is because of all that, they're not cash rich, so they don't have 200 grand in the bank to pay HMRC or the IRS the inheritance tax. So what happens is the farm feels therefore obliged. The only way to get out of the situation is to sell off parcels of its land enough to make that 200 grand to pay what you owe. And because the other thing that people aren't happy about is that because yeah, I can't get into that. It's a bit too dodge. I've got to watch what I say. So let me just. I wasn't born in 1984. I know I look like I was. Oh dear. Let's just catch up. I don't know what I've missed. Probably loads. Farmers are asset rich, not cash. Oh, here we go. That's similar to what I was just saying. Farmers are asset rich, not cash rich, and many of them won't be able to cover. Yeah, exactly. So they're going to have to sell off parcels of land basically in order to pay the bill. Now, that's like the basic backstory, if you like, of what's going on, right? Did you watch my farmer interview? No, the one I did see of yours was like that night you said, "Oh, can you join us on the Sunday?" and I couldn't, and then I watched that the next day. I don't know when that was. Was that 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Oh no, I didn't watch any interviews with any farmer. I remember what you took. No, I haven't seen that. I should do. I was talking about the one where you were talking with Scottish Prepper, I think, and Alpha Kilo as well, it might have been. Yeah, this is just, I'm just giving you the backstory, I haven't really seen much about it other than what I already kind of know, just because I know, if you know what I mean. But what I wanted to make a point of is, first of all, where I see the mainstream trying to convince people that these farmers' protests are going to result in food shortages, that's like a proper red flag for me. A proper red flag for me, because I could show you, I had a montage of videos of them making out, oh, it's going to, what about the food supply? It's going to create shortages and it's going to be inconvenient for the people. And it's just like, talk about predictive programming, right? And so, because there's such, there's so many, it just, oh God. First of all, by saying things like that, they're going to create a food shortage. So this is a tactic that they use quite regularly. You know, the mainstream media have all their little tools of the trade, and one of them is psyops, like, you know, perception management is a big one, where they want people to perceive something from through a different lens, and so they will try and convince you of things like, oh, it's only a very small number of farmers that farms will be affected. But no. Oh, okay, so let me just finish this off, because there is a little bit of another caveat to that, and then we'll get into this other thing, right? Is that for the backstory of the inheritance tax, the other little nuance to it is that I'm going to forget it again, aren't I? Let me take a sip of tea. Hold on. So there's a bunch of let's just skip through. Oh, yes. So one of the things is that there is a little bit of a tax loop, right? Because wealthy people over the years have used that little exemption of inheritance tax. I think it's called an ALP or something, like it's agricultural something, you know, where essentially you're let off it, right? And so wealthy people have used it as a bit of a tax dodge. Do you know what I mean? They've done it so that they've bought a farm because they can hand it down in their inheritance without getting clobbered for inheritance tax or capital gains tax. And so this is what the government is claiming they're trying to stop. But the irony in it is that most of the people that have bought farms as a way of being tax efficient and to preserve their wealth through, you know, handing it down through the next generation, they actually tend to be farms that are up to about £1.5 million pounds of value. They're very rarely big working farms of like 40 million quid. They're the ones that are the ones struggling because they got so much land. Yeah, the amount of tax they're going to get charged of inheritance is just nothing. They don't have that sort of money, right? So that's what they're claiming they're trying to close up, is the wealthy people buying farms because they're exempt from, you know, from that agricultural exemption, right, for inheritance tax. So that's what they reckon they're trying to close up. But most of those farms are less than 1.5 million value anyway. And you can get away with 1.5 million because they give you £1 million worth of allowance, plus there's about 300,000 allowance for outhouses, and there's a 200,000 allowance for some other stuff. So theoretically, you know, you could get away with that without paying anything, without getting too into it. But so I just thought I'd tag that on, because that was theoretically what they were trying to, the loophole they were trying to close. But you know what? Let's just, before we go any further, what we need to remember and to keep in the forefront of our minds is that all of these stupid conversations just assume that any form of inheritance tax at all is acceptable. Why is it even acceptable for everyone else to be charged inheritance tax on their property at £350,000? You see, the problem is everybody's arguing about the wrong thing. Nobody should be paying inheritance tax for anything ever. That's the reality of it, right? So let's not forget what we're really talking about here, right? No one should be paying it, ever. Everything that you've earned and you've built and you've acquired has already been taxed 1 million times to get to that point, whether it's the VAT, whether it's the tax on the earnings before you got the money to then go in the shop to pay the VAT on it. before you got it, and then you're going to get taxed on it again. It's just an absolute joke. Not to mention the money that the business has taken in into the business. The employers you would pay tax on that. Yeah, on the person that bought the thing, paid the VAT to get to the business, to then give to the employees to take the tax off, to then the employees to buy something with the what the fuck? So we're talking about the wrong thing. It's like no one should be paying inheritance tax anyway. It's already been taxed a million times up until that point where you die, yeah? So, putting all that aside, right? One of the things that concerns me is when I see the mainstream convincing people that there's going to be food shortages as a result of this, it tells me that that's what they're trying to make happen. And this is the way they create their perception management results in a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And I'm hoping that you're going to be able to follow my mindset along with this. I'm not suggesting that you're not able to, but I'm more hoping I'm going to be able to explain this in a good enough way, right? Because this is more of a psychological concept that I'd like to share with you, because these things are important. It may not seem like it, but it is, right? Because you can apply what I'm going to tell you and talk about now, you can apply it to every other news story that you ever see from this point forward. So, perception management is an extremely crucial tool used to change the way people see it. So as I was saying, one of the ways they do that is they try and they try to minimize it, to say, oh, it's only going to be a small percentage of people, and it's really to get rid of those nasty wealthy people that try to avoid paying inheritance tax. See what I did there? Right? So that's that first perception management. The second part of it is to suggest that there are going to be food shortages as a result of that, and I'll give you some reasons, just my own logical reasons as to why that's highly unlikely the case, if not the case, is that by telling people there are going to be shortages, it creates a panic of people buying things in case there's a shortage, right? Which then creates a shortage, which then allows the news media to then report on the fact that there is a shortage, to then blame the farmers, to then manage the perception of the populace again to be negative towards the cause of the farmers and their process, because it's causing them harm. And nobody likes to encourage things that are harming themselves. Governments do it all the time, but right? And so merely by the fact that they're even saying that there's force, rather than saying, but it's okay, it's not going to affect any of our supply chain because, you know, there's resilience built in, we've got alternative suppliers, it's winter time, you know, 60% of our fresh produce is imported anyway, and da-da-da-da-da. Rather than telling you that, what are they doing? They're trying to convince you that there's going to be food shortages and this is going to be bad for blah, blah, blah. Are you with me? Right? So, as I say, just some of the reasons, I've got my iPad notes here where I just started banging out the reasons off the top of my head as to why, as I just did then, why it wouldn't cause an impact. So first of all is the farm. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when I talked about the farm to fork process is quite long, because I talked about this in 2020. Don't forget, those that followed me on my other channels before, what happened, right? But in 2020, I talked about it a lot, remember, because it was all about a supply chain breaking down. I went into great detail about the JIT system, the just-in-time system that was invented by Japan, right? And how that's, you know, it's not cost effective to have stock room anymore, right? It's just a waste of land. So you just have distributors and it's all electronic. When someone buys something today, that will be on the back of the lorry that arrives tomorrow, and you just keep your shelves. There is no stock room out the back, it's just an unpacking bay now, right? So I talked about that. I talked about a cascade effect of imports and exports around the world, and sure enough, that happened, right? So I've talked about it before in depth, and I've highlighted about and I researched just so I made sure I had the right numbers. I overballed it a little bit too much, so it was a good job I did research it further just for the purposes of this. I'll just show you. This is on my I've pasted this into my Word document. So farm to fork process. So here we go. So growing and harvesting 6 to 8 months. Yeah. So what I want to tell you here is that it does. If the farmers all stop work today, right? If the farmers just stop work today, how long would it take until we see an effect on the shop floor? Now, the reason I'm highlighting this is because, first of all, this isn't even about every farmer just putting down tools and everyone going to London in their tractors. No. First of all, this is only a very small percentage of the farmers that are going to join in. How many farms do you think there are in the UK? Come on, it's not every single one's coming down. Right? Even if you highball it at 50% of the farmers. And again, it's only going to be 1, maybe 2 dudes from the farm coming down with 1 tractor. How many tractors do you think farmers have? They have like 10, 12, 15 tractors a lot of the time. And they've got at least 30 employees to keep the farm running while they're down in London with their signs. Let's just put it that way, right? So this already would assume that every single farmer in the whole country just suddenly just flopped to the floor and melted. Right? And so it would mean that the growing and harvesting, you've got 6 to 8 months for that, right? So we'll take that out of the equation. So wheat is typically planted in the autumn and harvested the following summer. So we're taking wheat as an example, right? Initial processing is a week. So once it's harvested, wheat is transported to a milling facility where it's cleaned and ground into flour. This process includes several steps like removing impurities, tempering and grinding. You've got a transportation production facility, which could be 1 to 2 weeks. The flour is then transported to a production facility where it's used as an ingredient in products like bread or pasta. You've got production and packaging, 1 to 2 weeks, yeah? Where it's got a mix of other ingredients, all the rest of it, right, to come up with that final product that you're going to see on the shelf. Then you've got a warehousing and distribution, 1 to 3 weeks. Look, packaged products transported to distribution. Yeah, your time can vary. It can be in there even longer. And then you've got the retail stocking as well, which is going to be in there for at least a week, right, before you even get round to the consumer purchase. So you're talking 2 to 4 months. Assuming that we even need it. And don't forget, we're in the end of November. So in the end of November, there's not really much that's going on in terms of the harvesting in the UK in the winter, because it's not the growing season, is it? Yeah. So as I said as well, the UK imports, even at best of times, is 40%, but in wintertime it goes up as much as 70%, and it's specifically for fresh produce. So first of all, it would only have an effect on 30 to 40% of the amount anyway, because the rest we get imported, right? So the other thing as well to bear in mind is that there are teams dedicated in businesses to maintain a supply chain with alternative supply sources, with alternative import areas that they can get the produce in from. There's all sorts of contingencies built into place, right? Not to mention, these businesses like your Sainsbury's, like your Tesco's, they've had weeks and weeks to pre-plan for this. So they would have already had plenty of time to stockpile themselves anything they thought may be something that could be in shortage. So when you add all that together, not to mention the time it would take from when something's not on the shelf, and don't forget, this assumes that every single farmer's going to just melt on the floor and all farms stop doing anything. No. So it's not going to have an impact at all. Any impact will be completely and utterly fake, and it will be completely orchestrated, and it will be a colluded thing done between the you-know-whos and the you-know-whos against us, right? I did look up the British harvest of this time of year just to see. This is basically, I'm trying to take you through what is nothing more than just critical thinking, which I'm known for on other channels, I know, but I think it's really important to go through this, because then we have to do the Occam's razor, don't forget, which is the conclusion that requires the least number of assumptions to arrive at is typically the most correct conclusion statistically. Like I say, if they're trying to convince people that there's going to be shortages, when I've just given you a million reasons why there's not going to be. And even the things that are being harvested this time of year have already been harvested. So that's just a distribution issue, which has got nothing to do with the farmers, right? Root vegetables. So basically what we got coming, this is to give you a heads up in terms of the things that could be, affected, yeah? Boom. So affected produce, root vegetables, carrots, parsnips and turnips are commonly harvested in late autumn. Brassicas, this includes cabbages, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower and kale. Hardy crops that thrive in colder winter. Leeks in season, often harvested from autumn through winter. Winter squash, varieties like butternut squash and pumpkins may still be available. Potatoes, while potatoes are harvested earlier in the year, they are stored and available throughout the winter. But again, that's more of a distribution thing, as you see. Apples and pears, these fruits are harvested in early autumn but can be stored and sold fresh. And again, most of these things are the things that we're buying in and importing anyway, because Britain imports so much of its fresh produce in the first place, not to mention all of the supply chain that's already got stock in the freezers of this kind of stuff. I hope you're following me in terms of what I'm getting at, right? And I'm not labouring the point, but I need you to understand that there's a reason why they're trying to manipulate people into thinking that there's going to be shortages when it would never result in any shortages, even if all the farms stopped, which they're not. There's one dude in one tractor from a couple of farms out of the millions, or not millions, but yeah, the thousands of farms in the UK that are joining in. It's not going to have an effect. So the fact that they're trying to convince you that there will be is because they're preparing your little soft mind so that they can try and demonise the protesters and to say, no, they're making you hungry. Steve-O in the house. Great to see you, my man. Thank you for joining our Discord community server. Really appreciate the coming in and checking us out with the after party. Was that you, Stevie? Were you there last night, wasn't it? In the after party? I know you weren't saying anything, but you don't have to. Just even to be involved and listening is good. Day survival here. The info you shared with us in 2020 prepped many peeps to be ready for what happened. Yeah. I mean, me included. We were all doing it together, but obviously, yeah, I suppose I was the... I made the list. Protests don't achieve anything else, but yeah. There is some element of truth to that. I do agree somewhat with that. Thank you, Day Survival. Keep the links flowing. So Christmas lunch is going to be interesting. Yeah, this is another thing. You see, that any excuse to try and destroy our Western Christmases every year without fail, right? Yeah, you see, another thing is that dairy isn't going to be affected because it's not under the control of that anyway. So that you can remove dairy completely out of the picture. I already looked into that. It's the same with meat as well, right? Which is why the farmers are saying we are going to withhold meat because they can't do it any other way. Right, so I talked about that last night, didn't I? The chimney tax and the wood log burners and stuff being outlawed and everything. So, do you know there used to be a window tax back in the day? That's why you see houses with their windows bricked up, because that was how they did like a council tax. Right, what we have in the UK is a council tax where it's based on your property's value is what you pay each month to go towards the municipal services, you know, like your roads and your police and your fire or whatever. And it's based on the value of your property. But back in the day, the government came up with something where it was like, oh, they base it on the number of windows you have, because they just assume if you've got a big house, lots of windows. Small house, not many windows. So the number of windows you had determined what your property tax was in the UK. Hence daylight robbery. Yeah. So if anyone ever wondered where the term daylight robbery came from, that was it. It's because they were basically robbing people's fucking daylight because they were having to brick their fucking windows up so they didn't have to pay the tax. Whoosh! Fucking hell. Cheers, everyone. Love, peace, and progress to the pack. Oh, dear. I hope you don't mind the way I'm just rambling on, but that's how we do. I've missed so many comments. Thank you everyone for being here. I hope you've all hit the like button, by the way. And please do, again, links in description below. Please do join our Discord server. It's a great place to catch up after the show, during the week, to share anything you come up with, stuff that you find stuff that you learn about. You've got all the rooms here. Look, Prepping Intel. You've got prepper sources of other cool places you can go to find information. You've got water storage and filtration. There's my video there. Look, of my electronic water filter prototype I'm working on. The food storage. Loads of people contributing to that. Thank you to everybody. Food growing, of course, I've done microgreens and stuff like that, which is something I'd encourage people to get into. I must do a video about microgreens again to replace all the ones that I removed. So yeah, we could try and do that. And I'll tell you what, I'd like to do my microgreens. I did buy ages and ages ago. I bought some grow light LED strip. They're about 75 watt a meter, I think, when I worked it out. Maybe not quite as much as that. And I've got about 10 meters of the stuff, right? And I was ideally, what I wanted to be able to do is to set my microgreen growing station up so that I could be literally doing it indoors with all the blinds closed in my lab studio so that from the outside they wouldn't see the lights, right? So I could just black it off. But it would mean, obviously, by hiding your food preps, or your, in my case, like the microgreens in this instance, right? By hiding them because you don't want people to know that you've got fresh microgreens, right, in a crisis, in a fan scenario, it means that you're going to struggle with the light, right, for them to grow. So my theory is that I can use my off-grid solar that I've got, take the sun from the roof, bring it down electronically into my shelves for the microgreens using my grow light LED strip. They're like red and blue color. Yeah, I forgot what they call them. Full spectrum LEDs, that's it. Full spectrum jobbies. And I'll do a video about all that, but I'd like to get to that point where I can just have them running with the lights inside without having to have natural daylight is the plan. So anyway, way off topic, but food growing, cooking tips, health and medicine, you name it, off-grid power, it's all in there. Yeah. So thank you to everybody rocking about in there. Protection, security. There's my other video there. Look, from the other prototype I've got some work to do on, but that's my PIR motion sensor for wild camping. So point is, loads of stuff to go and do over on the Discord server. And if you are a VIP patron, we do regularly have after parties. But tonight, because it's a special occasion, we're going to have an after party in the open voice chat there. So it means even if you're not a paying patron, don't forget paying, yeah, from as little as 20 cents a day. You heard that right. 20 cents a day. You can find that down the back of the sofa, let's face it, right? And it's worth it. So get yourself in there. You get discounts on Ting, you get free downloads, and you get yourself access to the VIP areas with the VIP crew. I'm only here to hear you rambling, says Kaza. Well, good, because that's all you're getting, girlfriend. It's only because of the distance, right? If there wasn't a distance thing, you'd be getting way more than a rambling girlfriend. Thank you to everyone being here today. Tuck by V1, cool name. I learned something today. What did you learn? Have I said anything of any? I kind of just been rambling. I had, do you know, it's funny though, I will tell you, I did have a massive show prepared. Like I would do the full-on prepping for SHTF survival scenarios kind of thing, yeah. This is... I don't even know what this was from. Security and defenses when it hits the fan. God, you remember that? These are the slides from that show. But I was going to do a full-on, like I would do with the SHTF Scenarios thing for this farmers thing, but I felt like it was going to be a bit overkill. But I have got a big one like this ready for stuff. Oh yeah, I remember this. This is out there somewhere. You must watch it. I think this is about 50 slides big, this one. This was like introducing my concept of the fact that there isn't two options of bugging in and bugging out. In fact, it's more accurately, it's homesteading, bugging in or bugging out. They're very different. And I see so many people who don't understand the difference. But this was a year ago, was it? Maybe more. So anyway, homesteading, for those that don't know, homesteading is where you're basically, like most of us would like to do, where we've got our stuff hidden in our homes and shit. We've got some tools, if you know what I mean. We've got some defenses, we've got some medical kits, we've got some skills, some knowledge. But we're just blending in with the neighbours, yeah? And we're just acting cool. And we're helping them and they're helping us. And, we maybe toss them a ham radio and say, oh, look out in your garden. If you look out in my garden, just press to talk and all that. Keypad's locked, so you ain't got to worry about fucking it up. Just subtle. Whereas bugging in is more like your property has been compromised, or there's gangs going up and down your street, and the last few nights you've heard them up breaking into a few of your neighbours' houses, and tonight you think it might be your house that they're going to come to when the shit hits the fan. Yeah, bugging in is more like hiding in the attic or hiding in the basement, pretending you're not there, or in a bunker if you're happy enough to have one, Mr. T. Right? That's bugging in. It's very different. Because you're being covert. You're pretending to not be there. Of course, you do run the risk of then your house being taken over. It's a one-way ticket. Once you bug in, there's no then bugging out, and there's no then going back to homesteading. And equally, if your house just burns down or gets destroyed, or it's just the civil unrest or whatever's going out, the violence that's going on up and down your road because it's all breaking down, fabric of society just tearing apart, right? Then you may have no option but to bug out. Which is properly bugging out, as in, see you later, we're getting out of here. And I will, in my book, in fact, I break bugging out into 3 itself. Because you've got bugging out to a friend or family's house if it's more of a localized problem that you've got going on, like a landslide or flooding or something that's destroyed your town, reason why you have to bug out. Then, of course, you may have a family member that lives somewhere else, but that you can then go to. So that's one option. The other option is like an RV camper van type bugging out style, where you can, a little bit more comfort. You can have big RV like Moroccan style, or just a caravan or camper van in the UK. Try and find somewhere nice and quiet to park up and so on, near a lake preferably, or some body of water that you can use to filter. And of course, the other version of bugging out is literally a bug out bag, hiking into the woods, getting away from civilization as far as possible, and hedging your bets out there. So anyway, didn't want to get into all that, but that was basically one of the shows that I did a while ago. And there's a big show I want to put together for you fine people as well coming up. There's a few options of what I was going to do. I was going to do the ham radio communications one, because I've got a few things I've been prototyping for that as well. Check out UK Urban Hepper being an absolute superstar. Good night. Thanks for the live. Catch up soon. Love to you as well, my man. Thank you so much for being you. We're really looking forward to getting you on the show as a guest. And hopefully you'll let me back on to say hi to his peeps as well. And I think we've got a great compatible wolf pack between us. So we're all very similar mindset people, which is great. So I think we're, I think we can really be a force multiplier for each other. Knackered if you live in a greenhouse, innit? Remember, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Divide and conquer tactics, absolutely. Absolutely. That was me, says Stevio. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, so we're going to be doing an after party again tonight. Yeah, just because last night I didn't get to sleep till about 6 o'clock in the morning because I was after partying. I was going to tag a name onto that, and I'm not going to. I only eat vegetables when there's no food, says Abby Limpet. Brilliant. I used to grow microgreens purely by artificial light. Did it work out all right, Hungry Tourist? I'm keen to know. Do you know what else I'm keen to know? I'm keen to know if my seeds are quite old, so I'm actually keen to see if they're going to actually germinate, right? Who knows? But, microgreens for me is something that I need to do regularly. It's not my comfort zone. I've got many comfort zones. There's not much that I'm not comfortable with. But food growing is just not something I've ever necessarily been passionate about. Fortunately, Mrs. Sigma Prepper's pretty into it. She knows a lot of shit about that. So she does all the beans every summer and things with our son. She gets him involved. Nothing too dramatic, but enough to say that we've given it a go. And of course, I've done quite a lot of work with the microgreens. I think it's worth teaching, it's worth doing, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money to get set up. And actually, when you do the calculation on volumetric area and weight of your seeds, like I bought big black buckets because cool, dry place, dark place, black buckets, and I bought lots of packets of microgreen seeds. I just opened them all up and poured them into a bucket and sealed it. And they've been in there for a couple of years now, so I'm going to be tempted to see if those seeds for the microgreens, and I've just stuck mung beans or whatever they were. I got some pretty high protein mung beans, I think they are. I just stuck the label on the bucket. So I'm really interested to know if those seeds are ever going to actually pop into microgreens ever in their life again. Now's the time to know if they're not going to or not, because that's another thing I was thinking is good as a something to rely on. And I think if, in the event of an SHTF scenario where there was some major food shortages happening, oh, look at Lafsme being an absolute babe. Thank you so much, my darling. You're such an absolute babe. I hope everything's all right with you and your homestead, my darling. I'm so proud of what Lafsme set up. She's the... What would I call you, my darling? You're the epitome of homesteader who's done it the right way and has worked really hard to achieve what she's achieved in her homestead over on the west coast of America. So, well done, Lafsme. You're such a great woman, proper strong woman, you know. Any man married to you is going to be having an easy life, Lafsme, is what I would say. And I'm sure you would agree. So thank you so much for your support. You've always been there for me for so many years now, Lafsme, as a Wolfpack member. So, and I do feel like I have to give a shout out to my Wolfpack members, because I couldn't do it without you, because of course I am not monetized. There's no sponsors, no networks, no paid adverts, no nothing, no external funding, no nothing. So, but it's okay, because there are ways to help, right? Here's what you want to do. Patreon as well is a great way to help support the channel. Really trying to build our VIP community, because it's great to have a bunch of like-minded people who become very close. We don't have to deal with trolls and things like that. So Patreon's a great way to support the channel. These are the people that are. Thank you to each and every one of these beautiful people. Couldn't do it without you. Really chuffed to have you on board. You support your pack VIPs, your elite VIPs, and your ultra VIPs. Thank you so very much, each and every one of you. And if you would like to be a part of that, and of course you can do that. Links in description, including the Patreon link there. So thank you so very much. And we've got merch out there as well. Don't forget, it's a good way to help the show. Got some cool Sigma Prepper official Sigma Prepper mugs as well as some good designs in there. Cheers, everyone. Is it going to get out of you or not? Let's go here. And then we'll go here. There we go. We got there in the end. Oh, so thank you, everybody. And yeah, come and join us over on Discord. Completely free to join. The links in the description below. This is where you'll end up on the main hangout. Just chat about whatever. This is where people get welcomed in as well. So I always like to give you a love. Thank you to Marine Mark for joining us. And yeah, building up a cool little team. So don't forget this open voice chat thing here with a little speakerphone. That's where we're going to be in the after party, which we like to do as part of the end of the show. So what do we get into? Don't know, but what's going on with this up here? Am I in the wrong folder? I think I must be. Here we go. I was going to say, what is that? I wonder why everything was going funny. I'm in the completely wrong folder on my thingy-bob. So yeah, so welcome and intro. We did the mindset quotes. We had our SHTF Intel report. We didn't do the Sing Prepper quiz. That'll be a special show coming up. And of course, the VIP after party. But it's not going to be VIPs. It's going to be for whoever wants to join, since we're looking to build the channel as much as we can. Thank you to our new subscribers who've joined us recently. And thank you to UK Urban Prepper, who kindly invited me onto his show to talk about food storage and food preparation. I've still got my vacuum sealer here and everything else I was digging out for the show. I had a great time doing that. And of course, on my on the description in this video, you'll see a link to that appearance on UK Urban Prepper's channel, who's done a great job of building his channel and building his community. So thank you so much for letting me be part of that. Really appreciate it. And to everybody who's made their way over here as well, including people like Kelly. Look at Noelle Marie, my beautiful one. I would say if you're going to order a mug, Noelle Marie, now's the time to do it, because I shafted myself big time on the price. And so I keep getting errors saying do you authorize this sale because shipping cost is not covering the actual cost and it's just coming out of my sheets? And I was only adding about $3 or $4 profit onto a mug in the first place, right? Because I wanted just people to have them rather than to make sheets. But there's about 30 different designs of Sigma Prepper merch on there. If you were going to buy a mug, I shouldn't say, but I will say, definitely get them in the next 48 hours because they'll be going up a little bit after that, right? So cheers, everyone. So do join us over on the Oops Counter 2, is it? Oh, that's very unlikely, isn't it? Thank you for flooding the chat with the links, my daily poos. Moderators, lovely to see your name popping up. Noel Marie, great to see you. And looking forward to catching up with you over in the after party on a Discord server. So come and join us over there. Let's have a laugh and chill out and stuff. So I hope everybody's received this show well. You know how we do. Lots of things going on. There'll be lots of shows coming up again later in the week. But in the meantime, please hit the like button if you haven't done already. I've been Drew, the Sigma Prepper. You've been absolutely amazing. Love, peace, and progress. To the back.
Reject the herd, prepare the pack. Click the like button, it's as easy as that. Check the description for the links you need. Follow my socials, subscribe to my feed. From a single lone woman to a family of 5. Learn from Sigma Prepper and see how you can thrive. We understand the risks that tomorrow could bring. We adapt and survive, it's a wolf pack thing. Reject the herd, prepare the pack. Click the like